Good news, Pi Whales community! We're excited to announce that our YouTube videos are now translated into over 100 languages worldwide. Now you can enjoy our content in your preferred language by simply selecting your own language in the subtitles settings. Thank you for your continued support, and we hope this makes our videos even more accessible to pioneers everywhere. Now back to the video. Hello, Pi community, and welcome back to our Pi Whales YouTube channel, your source for everything Pi Network. Whether you're a new pioneer or a seasoned one, today's topic is one you won't want to miss. Will Pi Network launch its open mainnet in December 2024? In today's episode, we're diving deep into the announcement made by the Pi Core team about the potential launch of open mainnet in 2024. Notice I said potential. Why? Because while 2024 is the target, there are three essential conditions that need to be met before we can flip that switch to open network. Pi Network has always been about building a decentralized ecosystem, and the open mainnet will be a giant leap in that journey. But there's no set date for December, and these conditions rely on the efforts of the core team, community developers, and you, the pioneers. Stick around for the full breakdown of each condition, and we'll also answer some burning questions from the Pi community. Before we dive into the details, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any Pi Network updates from Pi Whales. Now let's get started. Last year, the Pi Core team made a groundbreaking announcement. Pi Network intends to enter the open network period sometime in 2024. But the key word here is intends. There's no official launch date for open mainnet just yet. So why the caution? According to the core team, the open mainnet launch depends on three critical conditions. These conditions are strategic, based on long-term goals, and aimed at ensuring that Pi transitions to open network smoothly and securely. If these aren't met, the launch could be delayed. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's explore each condition in detail so we can better understand what needs to happen for Pi to reach this historic milestone. Are you ready to dive deeper into Pi's roadmap for 2024? Let's take a closer look at Condition 1. Open network preparation. Condition 1 is all about preparation, laying the foundation for open network in terms of technology, product, business, and legal work. This is where the core team's meticulous planning comes into play. As part of their efforts, they released the V2 roadmap, which outlines most of the technical and product milestones required for open network. The V2 roadmap covers everything from the development of the Pi wallet, enhancing the security of transactions, to expanding the Pi ecosystem through partnerships and use cases. However, not all milestones are publicly visible. Some technical projects remain in stealth mode for security reasons, and business or legal work, like regulatory compliance, is still being handled behind the scenes. So, why is this preparation phase so critical? For Pi to succeed in the open world, its technology must be bulletproof. The wallet, the blockchain infrastructure, the decentralized apps, dApps, everything must function seamlessly. One misstep could set the network back. The good news? The core team reports that they're currently on track to meet this condition. The takeaway here is that the core team has laid out a solid path toward open mainnet in the roadmap. However, the business and legal sides are equally crucial, especially with Pi expanding into new markets. We need to ensure compliance with global regulations and adapt to the evolving legal landscape of cryptocurrency. Let's move on to the second condition, which relies heavily on the Pi community. Condition 2 might be the most important condition of all because it involves you, the Pi community. This condition focuses on two major aspects: KYC and migration to the mainnet, and the creation of Pi utilities. Both are essential to making the open network a success. Let's start with KYC and migration. The target is to have at least 15 million pioneers fully KYC approved, with at least 10 million of those migrating to the mainnet blockchain. Right now, we have about 8 million KYC'd pioneers and 3.9 million migrated. So we've made progress, but there's still work to be done. Why is KYC so crucial? because it ensures that only real, verified people are part of Pi Network. This eliminates bots, fake accounts, and other bad actors, making Pi's ecosystem more secure and reliable. As more pioneers pass KYC and migrate to mainnet, the network becomes stronger and more prepared for open mainnet. Have you completed your KYC and migrated to mainnet yet? If not, now is the time. Encourage your security circles to do the same. Every verified pioneer gets us closer to open mainnet. Now let's talk about utilities, the apps that will fuel Pi's economy. The target is to have 100 real Pi apps that are live or mainnet ready, solving real-world problems. These apps need to follow Pi's platform policies and bring meaningful value to the ecosystem. Right now, we have about 40 qualifying apps, but more are on the way. Developers, this is your time to shine. If you're building a Pi app, make sure it complies with Pi's standards, brings real utility, and isn't just a clone of another app. If you're not a developer, you can still help by using Pi apps, sharing them with others, and promoting them to bring attention to their value. The more apps we have, the more real utility Pi will have, which is key to a successful open mainnet. As we build a decentralized ecosystem with real-world applications, we're ensuring Pi's long-term success. Condition 3 is the wild card, the external environment. This includes all the factors outside of Pi Network's control: macroeconomic crises, regulatory changes, pandemics, wars, you name it. The core team made it clear: if the world isn't stable enough, we won't risk launching open mainnet prematurely. Why does this matter? Because launching Pi during unfavorable conditions could negatively affect the network, its adoption, and the value of Pi itself. Imagine launching into a world where regulations are uncertain or markets are in turmoil. It would only hurt the hard work we've all put into this project. That's why the core team is paying close attention to global events before deciding when to launch the open mainnet. They'll only proceed when they believe the external environment will support Pi's success. So while we focus on our internal milestones, keep in mind that external factors may still influence the launch. And now it's time for a Q&A session. We've gathered some of the most common questions from the Pi community and we'll answer them right here. Question: is there a guarantee that open mainnet will happen in December 2024? No, there's no guarantee. While the target is 2024, the actual launch depends on whether we meet all 3 conditions, especially those external factors. But remember, the core team is focused on doing this the right way, not the rushed way. Question: how can the Pioneer community contribute to open mainnet? Simple. KYC, migration, and utility creation. Complete your KYC, encourage your network to do the same, and start using Pi apps. If you're a developer, now's the time to build apps that bring real utility to the ecosystem. Pi's future is in your hands. So, how can you as a pioneer help push Pi closer to open mainnet in 2024? Here's what you can do today. The more pioneers we have KYC approved and migrated, the stronger our network becomes. The more apps we build, the more valuable Pi becomes. Let's make this a collective effort, Pi family. In summary, Pi Network's open mainnet launch in 2024 is not guaranteed, but the roadmap is clear. The core team has laid out 3 crucial conditions, and we're already on our way to meeting them. The KYC and migration process is well underway, Pi apps are growing in number, and the core team is diligently working on legal and technical preparations. However, it's important to remember that external factors are unpredictable. But don't be discouraged. Together, we can do our part to ensure Pi reaches its full potential. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss any updates from Pi Whales. Together, we can make 2024 the year Pi Network enters its open mainnet. Thanks for tuning in, pioneers. Keep mining, keep building, and stay tuned for the next update. And that's it for today's episode. Don't forget to share this video with your fellow pioneers and stay engaged. Until next time, keep believing in Pi, and let's make open mainnet happen.
Sanjay! 点3家哈！哇，你看你们好幸福啊，每个人都有手都有派，手都有派，手都有派。哇，好幸福啊，你们啊！哇塞，可以了，手都有派呀！可以了，可以了，可以了。
Subscribe to our Pi Whales YouTube channel and earn Pi rewards.